So the rumor is that Universal Creative, Universal Studios, Universal Orlando are actively talking about replacing Superhero Island,
Marvel Superhero Island.
Marvel Superhero Island and Islands. More information, Jared, please.
This originates from WDWNT. So
Take that what you will.
whatever you think about their reporting of stuff. They've had a lot of rumors lately. This is one that they were saying. They were saying that Universal Creative was actively developing something to replace this, and that it could be replaced with putting Pokemon here, and they're replacing it. Now, I have no doubt that Universal Creative has and maybe continues to develop ideas that could go into this space and maybe any other spaces inside theme parks. I'm sure they have. I think even if they had the best idea to put here, they're like, man, this would be great. We'd love it. I just don't see it happening. Again, even if you had a great idea from a business standpoint because of the agreement that they have on the Marvel stuff, and then now is with Disney. So again, if you're not familiar with the contract, Universal got the theme park rights from Marvel back in the 90s when Marvel was not doing very well, and it's in perpetuity. There's no renewing it. It just exists as long as Universal keeps the land up to the standards that are set in the contract, which means they have everything east of the Mississippi they can do there. West, this is why you see Marvel stuff in Disneyland, is because it's west of the Mississippi and they can do stuff out there. So for the reason alone that if they forfeited the land and they did something different, it would just default back to Disney. They would be handing their biggest competitor one of their biggest IPs to use in their theme parks against them as theme park wars, quote unquote, are heating up.
Yeah.
For that reason alone, I just don't see it happening. Especially just giving it up and not getting any money for it. Because at this point, you'd have to assume if Disney wanted it, I mean, you're talking billions they would pay, assumingly. That if you're Universal saying, I'm not going to give this up for, I don't know what the price tag would be, but I don't see them giving it up just for nothing. Again, even if they had a good idea. And I also think there's other areas of Islands of Adventure that need more, let's just say, reimagining or,
like Toon Lagoon, like we said.
Toon Lagoon being one. There's a lot of places.
Lost Continent.
Lost Continent is one. The rumor there is Zelda and things like that. I also don't see Pokemon going in here because the rumor is that one's going in where The Simpsons is, and that makes a lot of sense to me. So I just don't think this has... Now, again, I'm not doubting that they have talked about it. I just don't think it would happen from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Of just willingly giving it up. So,
yeah.
And again, Marvel Superhero Island, I like it. I like the fact that it's in the 90s. I grew up on that stuff. So for me, it is a bit of nostalgia, and I like that it exists there. It's a simple land, but it's still a very popular land.
Oh, yeah.
Hulk and Spider-Man are two very popular rides in the entire theme park. They just redid a lot of the stuff in there.
I really don't think they need to redo it. I really don't. At least not right now.
Well, and I had said too previously, I'm like, I could see eventually, and I've said all along, eventually I can see Disney getting the Marvel rights back. I just don't see it happening for at least in this decade. Again, because if I'm Universal, and I'm just thinking from a business standpoint, if I'm Universal, they are very limited. Now, people have asked, they cannot put new things into this area. All they can do is basically maintenance and upkeep on the existing attractions because they have to work with Marvel to develop these things, i.e. Disney.
Right.
And Disney is not going to play ball with that. So even if it's me and I say, okay, even the rides we have, this stays pat, you're going to be better off doing that versus allowing your biggest competitor to have it and then use it against you, which they undoubtedly would. Now, granted, Disney would probably take 10 years or more to do it, but they eventually would use it against you. So just from a business standpoint of keeping it out of your competitor's hands, I don't see this happening for that reason.
Okay.
So that's my 2 cents on it.
That's
Could be wrong. I again, unless Disney is willing to pay a lot of money for this, I just don't see it happening.
All right. Jared says.
Jared's opinion. Because tomorrow they could say, we're doing it. And you're like, okay, well.
Okay. There you
but
go.
I do think if you're from Universal's perspective, it would be a mistake.
Yeah.
If they did do that.
When I heard that rumor, I was like, that doesn't sound right.
That just doesn't. I mean, again, this contract and stuff has been talked about endlessly.
Oh my gosh, and it's so complicated. Like it's thorough too. Like I don't know if have you ever read it?
I've read it. In the WWNT article, they link to it. You can actually go through and read it. It's a very, it has to do with what they can use is like the Avengers and like the relations to them, which is why they have Guardians in Disney World, because that has nothing to do with the Avengers or anything that was in Islands of Adventure.
Like Star-Lord,
Right.
he's meeting at Epcot now.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
So, Disney's tried to do like Doctor Strange stuff, which got shut down. So every once in a while you'll see, Disney sort of poke around that contract to see what Universal lawyers basically say, hey, knock it off.
Nope.
Yeah. But yeah, for that reason, I don't see it happening.
All right, fair enough.